So Kathy, thanks so much for
Okay.
joining us. And you are certainly a trailblazer from the almost the very beginning of Dementia Live's inception, when we only did in-person coach training, right? Um,
That's right. That's
that
right.
was the
Yeah.
only option so long ago, and we've definitely moved along with all of that. But been a great partner of ours, and you're in the Chicago area in Fox Valley, Batavia. So you have, how long has it been since you've had your business?
22 years. We opened in 2003.
Okay. All right. Wow.
Mhm.
Um, well, congratulations. That's a long time with right at home and a long time to be in this space. So you obviously have a great passion for what you do as we do. Um,
We get, as many do, we get as much as it's still rewarding, when something goes, someone's life is improved. It just makes our day. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, as a Dementia Live program partner, talk a little bit about how the program has helped with your staff. Let's just start there.
Okay. So, when we have so many, especially now, after COVID, we've got our younger workforce, and so there's nothing. They're a lot. This age group is kind of more of maybe experiential learners. They love to experience things, and they learn that way more than just reading about it. And so, I think that when they do educate, they can really feel, how it mixes your mind up a bit once you get all your gear on and do your task. And you could tell them that about those same things, and they don't get it until they experience it. Then they get it, and then they don't forget that they felt that way that day they did their training. And so when
Yeah.
we've worked high schools, the CNA classes, in with high schools year after year, those youngsters, um, they're 17, 16, 17, 18, just somewhere in their first year, somewhere in their second year. They are their world is just rocked by it, and they learn a lot. And hopefully, when they go to nursing homes and in-home cares or whatever, they'll remember this right at home group that kind of taught them about dementia, and they experience those feelings of having dementia, and I think they appreciate that later
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
How do
Mhm.
you think that the not just the aha moment they experience with the Dementia Live experience, but the conversation you have afterwards with, talking about it? I'm sure, they take this on in a positive way, helping the clients that you have, but many of
Mhm.
them probably have family members
That,
who,
oh, they do. They do, and some will some will afterwards when we get to talking about how they how their experience with, first we talk about the gear, how which gear bothered them the worst or whatever, and it's frequently the headphones is what gets them. But when they get to talking, um, when we'll get around to, they don't always talk at first. They're a little shy, but after we like do feet so the flashback game, and we talk, that the more we're there, the more they talk, and then they get to talking about their relatives that have dementia or had dementia, and grandma and grandpa, and or a neighbor or aunt or whatever. Then they get to talking about it, and they start making those correlations between what they're seeing and what we're teaching. Something that's impactful that we didn't use forever, but we've added on that video about Barbara. Video.
yeah,
Boy, we used that for the first time last spring, I guess, with a group out in Sandwich. A lot of high schools out that way go together and have a vocational school, and so it's a lot of kids, and they were so impacted by Barbara, more than I would have thought that would have done it to them, but it did. And
so
so
what was it about the video that
just just that they could
tied
see,
into tied into
yeah,
the
this is
experience?
how a senior, this is really how a senior feels. I think they put themselves maybe in after they had done they're hands-on first and they had their aha moment, then they're like, "Oh, this is really what goes on in their head." And then it began, but they begin to put it together that people that, because a lot of them have done clinicals, you know, in memory care and skilled nursing facility, and they're like, they just like put the pieces together, what they saw in clinical, what they learned at AGE-u-cate, what they're going to be experiencing later on, and they just put it all together more so. And they saw Barbara, and Barbara's in this healthcare hell that she was in, and they just like, oh yeah, wow. And I think it'll make them more empathetic people when they go back as a CNA once they get their certification.
Yeah,
I think
great
it will. I
feedback.
think it makes
Yeah,
a difference. Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, because the point of it all is to bring it home so that they not only walk out with the aha moment, but they walk out with, a tool they can use. Like that's why we give the empowerment tools, the communications and all that. It's just what's one step you can take when you leave Dementia Live to improve how you're communicating, or something that you can take away that is that action item,
Mhm.
and so you're seeing that with your
Yeah.
staff.
And doing flashback, you know, when they enjoy reminiscing when they now as you know, the older worker has different memories, and especially family caregivers when they go through the AGE-u-cate, they pick a whole different set of pictures than the younger ones. So,
Right.
you know, you got the hubba bubble gum and the um, Alf and whatever. But when they see those and they remember and they giggle and they show them to each other their cars, I think that hopefully the takeaway they'll get is, if I can talk to this senior and we can find out a little bit more about their life and try to, then I can try to figure a little bit more of how I engage them with questions about their life. And that reminiscing is powerful. I think they take away, yeah, there is something to this doggone reminiscing, because now they don't ignore me, they'll talk to me. And so I think they get that. I think flashback is that concept's a good one you came up with. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you use it with most of the Dementia Live experiences to kind of
We
open
do.
up conversations?
Yep. Just as along the way, you know, that we'll we start them in the experience, then we move them over to the room next door, and then watch the video. The memory is like a bookshelf, and Barbara, and then we'll share the cards and give them, like, pick a couple of cards, and then we'll let them reminisce. And I think that just tells them a real tool that they can use when they have nothing else at their disposal and they're not connecting. Try reminiscing. I think it
Yeah.
brings that point home. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a fun activity, like you said, to get them to open them up to talk. Sometimes
Mhm.
people, some people are more hesitant to express their feelings. So
They
this
are.
gives them something to just connect with each other, in the group, and be able to feel more comfortable in talking. How about your families?
Um, so families are that we were talking about this recently, that we have been in like townships where they open it up, like Hampshire, for example. They open it up to Hampshire, and then family caregivers can come and do it. And that, you can see, that's very meaningful and emotional for them. But
Mhm.
what we want to do more of, that we just get busy and don't, is we've got a family in Naperville right now, a husband and wife, and she's has dementia, and it's debatable about whether it's cruel for him to have her at home or not, because it stresses him so much. And he doesn't understand how to, he doesn't get this, it's the disease talking, not his wife. This isn't his wife. She's a little Scottish lady, and she he gets so frustrated, and we need to get AGE-u-cate over for him and his daughter and son-in-law, or whoever will come, and let them go through AGE-u-cate. And I hope that he'll have a little more patience with his wife, and that her behavioral expressions is the disease, not her just being obstinate to him, because he needs that to land with him quickly. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
taking it to him and his daughter, I think it is something we, on our to-do list, we really need to get over it and do. But
yeah, yeah. And it's impactful when more than one family member can go through it, because if they go through together,
Mhm,
the daughter might be able to help him
mhm,
through some of this, the wall often that the partners put up. I
mhm.
just don't want to face it. I want to be I'd rather be in denial because it's safer to be in denial. Kind of
Yeah,
get them past that.
yeah,
Um, so often they can realize I can't take care of them all the time. It's not healthy for them. It's not healthy
right,
for me. And
right.
yeah, yeah.
We've, um, we've just, recently, real recently partnered, Right Home has partnered with, Pocket RN for this, um, program that's gonna provide some, in July, Medicare will fund, dementia care, respite dementia care for so
Mhm.
many hours. And so I think that AGE-u-cate, I bring that up because I believe that AGE-u-cate is going to be even more important these for our staff to really hone their skills when they're going out to do these the Medicare funded respite care. We do it already, but we've really got to make sure we're really on top of our game to deliver, because the only reason we're there is to give that caregiver some respite. And so, Educate, I think, is a tool that we're going to depend on even more because it's a quick way to get the points across. We use All's Better, and we use Home Care Pulse or whatever they're called these days. All the online training, but there's Educate is so it just gets the point across so fast. So I think that's going to be a big tool for us to more important than it ever has been to really make sure that everyone goes through that as part of their training and our staff when they go to help. Um, and it helps fill out some of the stuff that the family caregivers that are already having a nurse talk to them virtually, you know, to supplement, to take that over and supplement um, um, what they're already learning from being coached by the nurse and all. So it's gonna be a good fit. It's gonna be a good fit with everything, I think.
That's great feedback. We often hear and know this ourselves, that when Educate is teamed up with the task-oriented training, the clinical type training, that it can be so much more impactful because they go through the walking in someone's shoes and
Mhm.
getting that empathy and understanding that the other training that they do need on, skills-based training that they need,
Mhm.
means more to them. It kind of brings it home. Do you see that?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, it does, because theory and practice, they're practicing, they're feeling it. Feelings are so much more, as we know, our amygdala remembers feelings, how they feel, and so once it gets that in their amygdala, it's gonna stay with them and stay with them a long
Yeah.
time.
And
I
how
love
important
that.
is that to your clients, that you have somebody there that they know cares for them and
Mhm.
understands them? And yes, all those other things are important too. But I think, when it all comes down to it, families want to know their loved ones are truly cared for when they're not there, right? They want to know that they're loved.
Right. And so many, I always say, hiring a bright young person to work in this field that has empathy is really golden, because they haven't been jaded in any way, and you can kind of mold them in the way of thinking about dementia care. Um, but the what you see sadly sometimes is individuals that have been burned out in long-term care facilities, and maybe they come over to home care, and they have to kind of re-engage. I think they've for survival, maybe mental survival, especially during COVID, they've turned off some of that empathy button in their brain, and they need to reconnect with how it feels, how their client feels. Some of them just innately get it, and some of them have just to survive with not having enough help and everything they have to do. I think those emotions they tamp down sometimes. They need to remember, that when I don't stop and listen as if it's the first time I heard this, not the 12th time I've heard this, that it matters that I have a lot of patience and things with them. So Educate is a quick way to remind, just to go through that when they come to write at home, they've never usually been through Educate. Just to go through that real quick, they can maybe re-engage that button in their brain about empathy. They have it,
Yeah,
but they wouldn't have done it for so many years. But
yeah,
sometimes I think it's survival. They have to do so much that they
yeah,
feel like everything is overwhelming to them sometimes.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because, I think re-engaging them and knowing if they came um, from assisted living or that environment, moved into home care, they didn't leave the field. So they still are caring people, right?
Yeah.
There's many options for them to
Mhm.
leave the field, but they didn't. They just are moving to a different sector.
Mhm.
And like you said, if they're burned out and, feeling weary and need to tap into those remind themselves of the emotional reasons why they are still here.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a educate can help with that, and that's a tool that can help. You can talk about it like I know you're going to see the benefits now of one-on-one care, and theoretically they get that, but in their heart they need to start kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
saying it's okay for me to feel okay to me to get a little sad about that they're on hospice or whatever. It's the feeling they just need to get in touch with their feelings. So, and educate I think can help that. Does help
Good.
that. Yeah.
Good. How many of your clients, I mean, just a general guess of your clients that have some level of cognitive decline?
Um, over 80%, over 80. Yeah,
Okay.
most do. It's a
Most
rare one
do.
that doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
And so really it's preparing all your staff because all of them are going to be working with people with decline.
Somewhere along the line. Yeah.
Yeah. That is our new and growing world, no
Mhm.
doubt. And has grown since you started this business, I'm sure,
Yeah.
where there was
Yeah.
not that prevalence as high.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now the client age has probably increased significantly.
I remember we had a family member that we were moving to Chicagoland in about 2004, thereabouts, 2005, from another state. And it was and she needed to, because of her physical issues as well as dementia, she really needed to transition. She was an assistant in the state she came from and wanted to move her to skilled. And it was, when they heard dementia, you'd have thought that this was just like a psychiatric type nursing home. This is in their mindset. And we're just talking about garden variety dementia. It wasn't anything different. But the way they looked at it back then and the way they look at it now, no one would have batted an eyelash. She would have been a candidate anywhere. But back then, nope, they didn't look at dementia in long-term care,
Yeah.
skilled nursing facilities like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
quite
I
it's
remember that.
cool that people are different.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
we are bringing it to the table, that this is more prevalent than not, and that it has to,
Yeah.
everybody working in aging services has to be prepared for working with people with dementia because it's that prevalent. Well, this has been great.
And when they go out in public. Yeah.
Anything you want to add? I don't want to take a lot of your time. This has been
Um,
great.
yeah. Yeah. I think that, I think a good thing, if we only had enough time, right? I think it's a good thing that just people that work in the public sector, if they experience, the more they can experience it, educate, I think they'll be better prepared when they go to serve someone in a restaurant or in retail or whatever. I just think that's a group that we're missing right now and there's only so many hours in the day. So, but
Well,
I
and
think
that's
it
the
could be
reason.
powerful.
Yeah, that's the reason for all the growth of the dementia-friendly initiatives that, have popped up. And we are giving away 10 scholarships this year in honor of our 10-year anniversary to
Oh,
dementia-friendly initiatives.
cool.
Those will be announced in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And our it's exactly why. We're very passionate about getting this out. We believe everybody should have this training, and you're right. People who work in restaurants and banks and retail and grocery stores and all, we need to be prepared for the aging population and the numbers of people with cognitive decline. So we're excited for
Yeah.
that program to launch and to be able to help some of these initiatives that are, really a group of, in many cases, a group of volunteers that are trying to get
Correct.
off the ground with this. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that the needs are greater than those that, are in this space, right? We need more
Right.
lift. So that's what we're
Correct.
doing.
So it's still a lot of people can benefit from your program that's 10 years plus now. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, we appreciate all your loyalty and again, your partnership and your commitment to the program, and we're glad that it's helped you and in your, you know, business
Mhm.
and outside your business and been able to really prepare your staff to better serve your clients. So that's
Yeah.
what it's all about, right?
Correct. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, I appreciate it so much. I appreciate your time.
Good speaking with you again, Pam.